Breaking news that we're getting at this hour. Union Minister Raksha Khadse filed a complaint against a few boys who allegedly molested her minor daughter and other girls during the Sant Mukti Yatra in Maharashtra's Jalgaon. The Union Minister Raksha Khadse has now filed a complaint alleging that a few boys molested her minor daughter and other girls too during the Sant Mukti Yatra in Maharashtra's Jalgaon. Khadse has said that the incident happened when Khadse's daughter was in a fair which was going on in Jalgaon. First up, viewers, let's listen in to what the police has to say about the accusation.
दिनांक 28 फरवरी 2025 को कोथरी गांव की यात्रा थी। उस यात्रा के दरमियान अनिकेत भोई, पीयूष मोरे, सोहम कोड़ी, अनुज पाटिल, किरण माड़ी और सचिन पालवे, इन लोगों ने यहाँ की 3-4 लड़कियाँ थी, तो 3-4 लड़कियों का स्टॉकिंग किया। उसके बाद कुछ कमेंट्स उनके पास किए और उनकी जो एक पीड़िता की उनकी जो जुबानी हमने गुनाह दाखिल किया है और इसमें मोलेस्टेशन, राइट, पोक्सो और आईटी एक्ट्स, ये सेक्शंस यहाँ हमने अट्रैक्ट किए हैं। इसमें एक आरोपी को हमने अभी अरेस्ट किया है और बाकी की कार्रवाई इसमें शुरू है। अनिकेत भुई जो है उसके खिलाफ पुराने मारामारी के गुने उसके खिलाफ दाखिल है और हम आगे की कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
संत मुक्ताबाई की कोथली में यहाँ पे हर साल यात्रा रहती है महाशिवरात्रि के निमित्त में। तो कल परसों रात को मेरी बेटी यहाँ पे इस मेले में गई और उसके साथ ये घटना यहाँ पे घड़ी हुई है। कुछ लोगों ने, कुछ लड़कों ने उसके साथ छेड़छाड़ी की है और उसके कारण मैं आज यहाँ पुलिस स्टेशन में मेरी बेटी को लेके यहाँ पे कंप्लेंट करने के लिए आई हूँ। संत मुक्ताबाई की कोथली में यहाँ पे हर साल यात्रा रहती है महाशिवरात्रि के निमित्त में। तो कल परसों रात को मेरी बेटी यहाँ पे इस मेले में गई और उसके साथ ये घटना यहाँ पे घड़ी हुई है। कुछ लोगों ने, कुछ लड़कों ने उसके साथ छेड़छाड़ी की है और उसके कारण मैं आज यहाँ पुलिस स्टेशन में मेरी बेटी को लेके यहाँ पे कंप्लेंट करने के लिए आई हूँ।
As Trump's efforts to cut a peace deal with his Ukrainian counterpart lay in absolute tatters after the globally televised bust-up at the Oval Office, the European bloc potentially put itself in a collision course with the US over the Russia war. Unbothered by Trump's scathing rebuke to Zelensky on live television, accusing him of gambling with World War III, the European Union pledged full support to the Ukrainian president. Also putting himself at odds with Washington, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer hosted Zelensky at 10 Downing Street and even opened a line of credit for Ukraine. Here's a detailed report on that. Take a look.
We gave you military equipment.
Donald Trump's public bust-up with Volodymyr Zelensky at the Oval Office may have opened up a chasm between the US and the European Union over Ukraine. After abruptly walking out of his bilateral with Trump, the Ukrainian president found support from the European bloc and its now separated member, the United Kingdom. This after the leaders of the European Union came together for a Ukraine summit where they pledged to throw the weight behind Zelensky. Ahead of hosting the EU summit on Ukraine, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called on the visiting Ukrainian president at 10 Downing Street and opened a line of credit for Kyiv. The two leaders were pictured sharing a warm embrace after the bilateral, in which the two countries inked a loan agreement worth £2.26 billion. According to reports, the line of credit is aimed at bolstering Ukraine's defense capabilities in the face of Russian aggression. The EU's positioning on Ukraine suggested a marked variance from that of the US and Trump, who accused Zelensky of gambling with people's lives and World War III during a fierce exchange at the Oval.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not
cards.
playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm
You're
serious,
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing
I'm very
cards.
serious.
You're gambling
I'm
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War
What do you-
III.
what do you think
You're gambling
about?
with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And
You-
what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country.
Livid at Zelensky's attempt at hardballing on his peace offer, Trump reminded the Ukrainian president that the war with Russia would have been decided in 2 weeks or less had it not been for America's military support.
You
And
haven't
not
been
only
allowed.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
We gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if,
West
if you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this, I tell you.
Crucially, after walking out of the Oval in a huff without signing the mineral deal, Zelensky later issued a statement thanking the US for all its support. Meanwhile, amid the EU's demonstration of support, the NATO nudged Zelensky to mend his frayed ties with Trump. NATO chief and Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte called on the Ukrainian president to find a way to peace with Trump. Earlier, responding to the on-air slanging match between Zelensky and Trump, Russia accused the Ukrainian president of biting the hand that's feeding him. As the EU stands with Kyiv after the Oval Office smackdown, is Europe's positioning on Ukraine driven by its quest for leverage to beat Trump's tariff threat?